Recording. Okay. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Rocklin Unified School District Transitional Kindergarten Parent Night. I can't see you all, but I can see your names, and thank you for being here tonight. We are looking forward to sharing a bunch of information with you. We have a small panel here. You should be able to see 4 of us. Your video will not be on for the webinar. We will do a presentation and talk for about half an hour, and then for the rest of the hour, we will open it up to questions, and at that time, I can have you ask live questions to the panel here. So let's start by having the panel introduce themselves. I am Bill McDonald. I'm the Associate Superintendent of Elementary Education here in Rocklin. Nice to meet you all. And we will go to Kathy Goddard next.
I'm Kathy Goddard, and I'm currently the principal at Cobblestone Elementary School. I think this is my 19th year, and the district is an amazing place. Welcome tonight, and we're looking forward to having you join us next year with your students.
Let's go to Kim White next.
Hi, my name is Kim White, and I'm the TK teacher at Cobblestone. This is my 7th year teaching TK for Rocklin Unified, and there's no other place I'd want to be. This is the best.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Camille Maben, and I am the Executive Director of First 5 California, and also a former board member for Rocklin Unified. And so my day job is really working on early education and health issues for children and their families 0 to 5.
Thank you, everyone. And if you couldn't tell, we have a great panel here tonight. I'm not talking about myself, but Principal Goddard has been with us for how long, Miss Goddard, at Cobblestone?
19 years.
19 years. And Miss White, excellent TK teacher. How many years, Miss White?
7, yeah.
7 years. And then Camille is statewide a early childhood expert, also a resident and a former board member, but great panel, lots of expertise in the room to answer your questions and share with you tonight. As I mentioned earlier, we'll do a short presentation, give you a bunch of information, and then we will do some question and answer. I'm going to share in the chat, I'm going to provide the link to the presentation. There are some other links on there for more information, so you can go in there and click and follow along from home. I'm actually going to share the presentation live and talk through it, and we will get that started actually now. So let me do that. Let me see here, get to where I need to go. And okay, here we go. So you should be able to, well, that's not the right screen. Let me.
You want to go to slideshow?
Let me stop that one. I'm going to go to a different screen. Let's go here. Puzzling. So I'm just going to bring it up.
Do you want to just go over to the slideshow button next to share?
Because I don't think people can see my presentation at this point. So I'm going to try that again. Okay, I think this is going to work. I think can people see the RUSD Transitional Kindergarten TK? Can you guys see it? Okay, then I'm successful. Sorry, I wasted a minute of your time. Okay, so again, welcome. What you see in the background there is all 12 of our RUSD schools. If you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you will see that there was new elementary school number 12. Actually has a name now. It's called Quarry Trail Elementary. It will be our 12th school opening next year. So some of you will be attending Quarry Trail. That's very exciting, but that will kind of round out our our elementary school programs here in Rocklin. We're excited about that new school opening, and we'll be adding a logo as soon as that's developed. Getting into this, if you can believe it, your children entering TK this year are starting an incredible journey.
that will end in them graduating, hopefully from Rocklin, as the class of 2036. If you can get your head around that. Sounds very futuristic, like we'll be on Mars or something. But that is your child's graduation year, which is super exciting. And they could either be a Wildcat or they could be a part of the Thunder. Both amazing schools, but we like to say this is an exciting time because for some of you, and some of you have children in Rocklin, but for others of you, you are starting a 14-year journey with Rocklin Unified, and you'll be part of our family. You're going to meet other parents and families that you're going to become very close to, and this is going to be a big portion of your life. I know I'm not trying to scare you because it's a great portion of your life where you will have this journey with other people in this room and people you meet at the school. And it's amazing. As a parent of a now freshman in high school and a sixth grader, I remember my child entering kindergarten and how exciting it was. And I thought that they would cry and hate to leave me, and they just ran away and were very happy. And I'm the one who cried. So hopefully you, and I was like, hey, wait a second. But it's a great experience all the way through. And it's just wonderful to watch kids grow and develop. And that's what this program's all about. Just really briefly, you're in a great school district. If you don't know that already, we have award-winning schools, California Distinguished Gold Ribbon schools. Part of our positive behavior intervention supports, we have gold and platinum and silver schools. Pretty much any award you can think of, we have that in Rocklin. We're a very distinguished school district. We have probably the hallmark of our district is our staff, as is any school district, but I can truly say I've worked in several districts that Rocklin has this caring, family, child-oriented environment where kids are taken care of, and it's really a focus on the individual and helping them grow. So that highly qualified, fully credentialed staff is a hallmark of our district. And then we have lots of other great things besides teaching your kid to read and do math and do science. You know, we have art, we have PE, we have STEM and maker spaces and technology and great field trip experiences. So we offer this whole, you know, in high school, you have these CTE programs and all sorts of electives you can choose from. So we really aim to develop the whole child and have this be an amazing experience from start to finish for you and your family. And of course, we also develop those, you know, more and more important, especially lately, is these social emotional skills, kindness and resilience, character, social skills, building strong relationships. And you'll hear from many of our panelists tonight, especially in TK, these are the things that we really want to build is like, how do I go to school? How do I share with friends? How do I build relationships? Because that foundation is going to make your child super successful going forward. You know, CASP results are one thing, and state of California, you can see those are the percentages of kids that are passing or meet the standard, 51% and 40% mathematics. We could do better as a state. In Rocklin, we absolutely do better, right? So we have 71% of kids meeting and exceeding and 63% of math. So we are a high-performing district across the state. Our philosophy with this program is a balanced program that meets and exceeds academic standards. It's developmentally appropriate for our young learners. It looks a little different than other classes, but it prepares students for kindergarten. We will differentiate to meet your child's needs wherever they are. There's a huge span of learning at this age. Some kids come in reading. Some kids come in just learning letters. Some kids have played and can collaborate and share. Others are just beginning to learn those skills. We will meet your child where they are when they come in. And I'm going to actually turn over to Camille, who's been with this program a long time. Tell us more about like that philosophy behind TK, Ms. Maven.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Bill. And again, thank you, parents, for tuning in tonight and starting on this wonderful journey. Much like Bill, I can remember, which now my kids, different from his, are in their 40s. And so, but I can remember the first day, my oldest wanting to ride the bus to school. And I sat there and we put him on the bus. And sure enough, I got in the car. So when he got off the bus at Parker Whitney, I was there again. Not for him, but for me. And, you know, it has been just this wonderful journey to watch our kids grow up in the Rocklin Unified School District. And so I'm excited, truthfully, for all of you to have that experience with your children. when it's your first one, everything is new and there's lots of learning. But if you're a veteran and have had siblings go through, you'll hopefully feel like welcome home in this wonderful grade that you're entering. You know, Bill mentioned that with kids, developmentally appropriate program is really important to us, and really thinking about social emotional needs. And you know, you can tell if you have a group of 5-year-olds, if you have, say, 5-year-olds, some of them are going to actually be developmentally, well, maybe about 4, and others might be 5.5. But over time, everybody is going to, in the end, sync up. Some people, it just takes a little longer, all there. And the experience of that TK brings is really, as Bill said, meeting those children where they are, giving them those early foundational skills on the social, emotional, and executive functions that are so important for children. Because when it comes time for the academics, if all of those other things are in place, kids are just what we call ready to go, ready to learn. And I know as a parent, and I'm sure some of you, you know, sit there and think, is he or she ready? Do they have that? And watching them and making sure that you're doing all the right things to ensure that that your children are really excited. I mean, what we look for TK to do is really wanting to get them excited about learning, help them to be, which they are born curious, but help to really get that curiosity going, helping them wanting to know, wanting to learn. And I think our TK teachers do a great job. We talk a lot about that together, about how do you give those experiences to children. And I know Kathy and Kim are going to talk about the day and talk about curriculum. And sometimes I think we wanting our children to do well, we think that encompasses lots of pencil and paper type of activities. That's not what this is about. This is really about experiences that kids will have that really drive home what we want them to learn, so that when it is time to do those paper and pencil things, they're going to be ready. They're going to have those experiences to draw on. They're going to have the language, the vocabulary they need. They're going to be able to tell you what they're thinking and what they want. And really so proud in what we've worked on in Rocklin is that TK really is that balance. And I am proud to have been able to be a part of it, and still to a certain extent be a part of the work that goes on here, and to watch what young children are really experiencing during their year. You know, I can't remember a parent who didn't say, I am so happy that my child had this opportunity. You know, they just see the difference that year makes, the growth their child has, the ability, the learning to make friends and how to work with one another, and especially now. You know, it's been a hard couple of years, and our opportunities to be in groups is not what it was a few years ago. So more than ever, I think TK is really going to really be that springboard for young children that they need. And for you as families and parents, you know, I think you're just going to be so excited to see how much growth can take place in a year that this program will help your child do. So happy to answer questions at the end, Bill.
Thank you, Camille. I may be calling on you some other parts here too, but I appreciate you. So really quickly, what is traditional transitional kindergarten? We're going to get into a deeper definition, but really this is that it was developed to be a bridge between preschool and kindergarten, allowing younger kids more time to develop socially and emotionally before entering in to the big school at kindergarten. And that's exactly what it is. It exposes kids to the kindergarten curriculum,
It's a modified kindergarten curriculum at a slower pace. It's more developmentally appropriate. And it gives those opportunities for students to really socialize and cooperate and learn to work together and succeed in a group setting. And all those things, as Camille so nicely said, are just critical. They lay the foundation truly for that other learning that comes later. And so that's what's so important about this grade level. Eligibility. So is your child a TK eligible student? So this is evolving. This is kind of exciting because this year, because of a wonderful state budget headed our way, we actually got more information today. The governor is actually expanding TK for the next 5 years until it's actually a whole separate grade level. In the past, it's been this sliver of time for kids born, birth dates between September 2nd and December 2nd. It was this small group of students. Now that window is expanding, and this is the first year of that expansion. So this coming school year, students born between September 2nd, 2017 and February 2nd, 2018 are eligible for transitional kindergarten. Again, a bigger window, almost half a year of kids. And so we are going to have we're projected to have 8 TK classes at 8 different elementary schools next year. These students are not eligible for regular kindergarten. Those are students who turn 5 before or on September 1st of 2022. So these students going into transitional K will actually start the year in August as 4-year-olds, and then they will turn 5 during their time in TK. In terms of exceptions, and I know we'll get this question later, well, what if my student's born before September or after February 2nd, and I want them in this program? I don't blame you, first of all. And the way we do that is we actually do look at students born before who may need some extra time to develop and grow and meet that criteria. We put them on a wait list. And then we also have a wait list for students born after February 3rd. We work backwards by date if we have room in our programs and allow those students to enter. So if you're a kindergarten age child who wants to attend TK, we will slot you by your birth date. So for example, the first student eligible would probably be a student born on September 1st. And then we would work backwards from there if we had room in the TK classes after we enrolled all TK eligible students. So more about that later, but yes, there is exceptions to that rule, but generally we look at that window first. If your child's in that window, they definitely are eligible for TK. And as I said, here's the expansion you're going to see over the next, if you have other children and you're interested, you can see that by 25-26, we will be offering TK for a whole year of students who are born before September 1st. That means we will have 3- and 4-year-olds, a whole grade level of school for 3- and 4-year-olds by 25-26. And we are actively making plans of what that's going to look like, because that will be a little different. We're going to be working closely with our preschool partners and other folks to develop a curriculum and a program that's going to meet the needs of those really young students. But we're also really enthusiastic that we get to welcome several hundred new students to our school district and allow them to enter school a year earlier and have those important experiences. So very exciting stuff happening. Again, I said some of this already. We're offering TK at 8 schools for next year: Antelope Creek, Cobblestone, Parker Whitney, Quarry Trail, Rock Creek, Rocklin Elementary, Rucola, and Valley View. If you don't see your school there, we're in the registration process. You'll be able to rank your preference. We try to put you at your school of preference if you don't have a school there that's closest to your home school. Not this year, but next year we will have TK at every single elementary school is the plan. If there is high demand for a school not on this list, we will also consider adding another TK. So it's not a hard and final list, but it's our best projection right now. I already mentioned that we have great teachers. You have one of them here tonight who are wonderful and work well with our kids. Next year, we have some other exciting pieces for TK. One of them is that these excellent teachers will have a highly trained instructional assistant for the full day. Before we had only 65 minutes, look at Miss White, but we are going to have full support we'll have 2 adults in the classroom all day, and those will be highly trained individuals who will work closely with the teacher to give a great experience. And then at the bottom of this slide, you can see that's because we have a new ratio. Again, state of California has put this into place. 12-to-1 ratio at our regular schools, which are Cobblestone, Quarry Trail, Rocklin, and Valley View. So 12 kids to 1 adult. And then at Title I schools, Antelope Creek, Parker Whitney, Rock Creek, and Rocklin Elementary, we're going to have a 10-to-1 student to adult ratio, which just makes the learning that much better. Students get more attention. We can do more small group work. We can do more activities, more supervision, just a better experience. So excited about that. I think I can see that Miss White is excited about that too. So that's a good thing. Another important change for next year, I mentioned we're opening Quarry Trail Elementary School up in Whitney Ranch. We will have a Spanish dual language program being housed at Quarry Trail. It will start next year with a program in TK and kindergarten. So that program, if you don't know dual language, it's a program where students are taught in both English and Spanish. So 50% English, 50% Spanish. The goal of the program is to develop oral and written language proficiency, high academic achievement, learning the same content, and also developing that appreciation of other cultures. So students who enter that program will be part of that, learning both languages starting in TK. So there will be 2 TK classes at Quarry Trail. Both will be part of that dual language program. That is not just open to Quarry Trail families. So if you are a family at any of our Rocklin Elementary schools, you can apply for the dual language program for TK, and you can be part of, we think we're going to have a lottery for that program. And if you are accepted, your child will be eligible to attend at Quarry Trail in that program, because we want people to have access all around the district. More information about that program can be found on the registration website that I'll share later. And I can answer specific questions about that program later, but we're excited. It's new to the district, but I think it will be, you know, with language, the younger we start, the more successful students are in acquiring that second language. So we're excited to offer that in Rocklin. Okay, good. It's good timing because I'm going to pass off to Miss White, and I need a drink of water. So Miss White is going to go deeper into actually the curriculum and the program in transitional care.
All right, so hello everybody. As you can see, social and emotional development is probably #1 in TK. Like Mr. McDonald was saying earlier, we really want these kids to be self-sufficient, be able to solve problems, take care of their own needs, and work with groups of kids. So many kids are coming in, you know, learning how to share still. Some kids haven't had a lot of opportunity to have play dates because of the world we live in right now. So we really work a lot on sharing and playing together, talking about feelings, working out problems. We really put the questions back on the kids to solve their own problems. Often you might know little ones will just say, "You're not my friend anymore." But what really they're thinking is, my feelings are hurt and I'm feeling sad. So we really want to get the kids expressing their needs to their friends, and then having the little ones accept what their friends are telling them, and make things better. So we focus a lot on labeling those feelings and figuring out what to do with them and how to solve the problems at school. So it really is just wonderful, because I have witnessed my kids go forward into kindergarten and first grade and be leaders in helping kids solve problems in class. Or, you know, I get feedback from the other teachers saying, "Wow, the TK kids are really well behaved and they really work well together." So I'm really proud of that part of our program. So independence, responsibility, and routines, and we practice this daily. So the little ones, really, we want them to be able to take care of themselves, you know, wash their hands, use the bathroom themselves, pack up their things at the end of the day. Simple, you know, 3-step instructions for them to be able to follow things without a grown-up having to help them at all times. So you can help your child learn these good habits by having routines at home, and give them some multi-step directions that you have them follow, such as some household chores, maybe even a little chore chart, We definitely have chores in the classroom. The kids are responsible for keeping our classroom nice and showing respect to the school property. And I really love that my kids have jobs in the classroom and they are proud of themselves that they help keep our room clean and organized. You could also at home discuss healthy eating with your kids and that it's important to get a lot of rest. We talk all the time about healthy foods, and every time you have a birthday, you have to try new foods, right? So we're always planting little seeds to get those kids trying new things. So here's a kind of a sample of our day. So it might seem like a long day, but we are always moving and changing topics, changing subjects, going outside. It goes by really fast. In fact, most of the time my kids are disappointed when it's time to go home. But we always start with some circle time. We're going to do, just like you might have seen in preschool, the calendar times, countings, days of the weeks, working on colors. A lot of the more academic parts of the day are going to happen early when they're the most fresh in the day. We have snack together at school. We have morning recess where the kids get to go wild out there on that playground. We do work on language arts. So a lot of, letters and phonemic awareness in the classroom. We have math curriculum, and like Camille said, it's not a lot of pencil paper things. Now, the things that we do are hands-on activities. We're going to be practicing our letters with Play-Doh or shaving cream. Their hands are going to be in, finger paints and working with sand. And, so we're going to have them sorting real things like bears or, so they're going to be using their hands all day to learn different concepts rather than a pencil and paper. Not to say we do a little bit of pencil and paper as well, because we're trying to get them ready for kindergarten. But we get to slow down in TK and really just explore things. As you can see, they will have lunch at school and a recess at school after that. We do science and social studies. And the kids also will have some free choice time. We kind of call that active learning because they are learning a lot of skills when they have freedom to make choices on their own. So a lot of problems kind of arise during that time that they have to figure out how to solve, how to share, how to build something that got knocked down, how to accept an apology or give an apology. So a free choice time is really valuable time for the kids. As you can see in here, there's also sharing. Just like when you were little, we do show and tell. And that's kind of the first opportunity for your child to give an oral presentation, which they're going to need to be able to do in their whole education career and maybe in their jobs in the future. So baby stepping into oral presentations would be show and tell. So we have some sharing time. In TK, art and music and PE are integrated into our program, so the kids stay with us for those content areas, but we do also get to have library time. So it's a busy week at school. And that's the end of that one. Okay, so our English language arts overview. So just to remind you all that these little 4-year-olds are all learning the English language. So wherever they are in their learning, they're going to see tons of visuals. We're going to be learning new vocabulary. We'll do that by using music and movement. We do sign language. And so we're going to learn all about the ABCs. We do rhyming, beginning sounds, letters and letter sounds. Definitely reading lots of stories and posing questions when we read those books. What do you think will happen next? What is the setting of the story? So we really have the kids dive into these books and make predictions. Do you think it's nighttime in this story? Tell me why do you think it's nighttime? So we want them to do the explaining when we read books together. and really remember what they've read or heard. And then at the bottom here, increased control in writing. So we're going to strengthen those little fingers with everything we're doing with Play-Doh, squeezing, tearing paper, squeezing, clothespins. All of those things are going to strengthen their fingers so that they're ready to write their letters. And we do work on proper letter formation, writing their names uppercase letter first and the rest lowercase. So we do work on handwriting in TK a little when their hands are stronger and ready to hold those pencils. And then our math overview, we hit these 4 major areas here, and the TKers will be asked to recite up to just 20, and most of them can go way beyond that already in my class as well. Counting things, we're going to be sorting things all the time, dividing things into groups based on size or color or similar objects. We're always working with patterns and measuring things, making, again, predictions. How many, blocks tall do you think this friend is? Let's see if we were right. So we do a lot of things, again, with our hands, touching things. We would maybe take 10 shapes and say, what happens if we take 4 of them away? How many do we have left? So that's how we're going to be doing our math, is by games and activities. And then our science and social studies is really fun in TK. We follow the California Preschool Learning Foundations in that it's kind of a thematic continuation across the year. So things that are traditions, and in January, we traditionally think about winter and snow. We will learn about snowflakes and that water freezes and that ice cubes melt. And it's fun that we get to kind of follow the seasons, follow the weather. And these are some of our topics here: community helpers, the 5 senses. We talk about how other people in other places celebrate seasons or the time of the year with traditions. We're always talking about the weather and the changing seasons and the changing foliage outside of our classrooms, as well as the plants and animals on Earth. Kids love learning about plants and animals. So this is our science and social studies.
Thank you, Ms. White. And I know that you or Ms. Goddard are going to talk to this other part, which is, we've alluded to several times that TK is about more than just the academic content areas, although math, reading, writing, science are all amazing and important. There's another piece of this program that's equally important. So is that you or Ms. Goddard?
I think that's me.
Okay, that's you. I'm gonna bring them all up for you, and you get to talk to these.
Okay.
Here they come.
Yeah, so as you guys can see, the resilience, the working cooperatively and following directions. I'm not going to actually teach your children a lesson on those things. They're just embedded in everything that we do. And so when I ask them, to do this, this, and this, and you're going to do it with a friend, all of these different areas are kind of hidden in our activities that we do all day. And so often the kids don't even know that they're learning. They don't realize that they just got taught a lesson. They're just trying to do something fun in a kind, friendly way. And that's really the fun thing about TK, is that they feel like they're playing all day. But when they're for instance, when they're lining up cars in a row, that will lead into putting letters together and creating words. And so everything they play and do is a foundation for something they will later learn. When they're scooping rice and beans in a scale and just playing with that, they just think that's fun, but they're really learning how to be precise. And one day they'll learn how to read that scale. So there's a lot of hidden things that they are learning in TK that will go with them forward throughout their education.
Thank you. And I will say we're all part of this great social experiment that is, this pandemic. And it's interesting because we saw, unfortunately, last year we had kids, not so much in Rocklin. We actually have been open most of the pandemic, but we saw kids out of school or missing school or in quarantine, out of school more than usual. And I think the biggest, we anticipated this year some learning recovery that would be needed for kids who are behind academically. But I think we under anticipated the importance of these things, right? So what we found is when kids have come back, these things like respect and following directions and listening and working with others and handling failure have been the real tragedies of this pandemic. And it just has cemented for me how critical these things are. This socialization that happens at school is absolutely essential for students. And again, this hidden curriculum is that. It's like, how do I get along with people? We live in a social world, and I think most employers would tell you that what they're looking for is people skills. Like, we can teach a lot of stuff, but we have to teach people how to get along and lead and work with others and be kind. So these things are embedded in the program, and I can't emphasize how critical they are. And again, just kids coming back and us seeing this missing piece, it's something that has to happen. So a good exciting part of the program. Camille, actually it's not Camille. I'm gonna pick on you in a second, Camille. I have another slide for you, but I'm gonna turn this over to Kathy, and she's gonna help you understand this tiered intervention system, because we do want to meet students where they are, and we have a system for doing that.
Yes. So we've been doing MTSS. You're going to hear a lot of acronyms, and you may wonder at some point in your child's career, is my child going to be challenged enough, or is my child struggling? How can they get help? And so this is a system that we've put in place in every school in our district called multi-tiered systems of support. And that's just fancy language for we've got a system for helping kids grow no matter where they are. Every school has a different name. You might hear it called WIN, What I Need. You might hear it called the Shuffle, where kids are moving around to different places. You might hear it called Walk to Learn, or at Cobblestone, it's called Focused Learning Time. But it's a dedicated period of time where kids in a grade level mix up, go to a different teacher to get what they need in terms of their support, so that kids who are doing really well, that are strong, get extra challenge. Kids who are struggling get a small group every day where they're helping, getting help with the skills and the holes that we've identified that they have. And it happens throughout every school, in every grade. Actually, we don't start in kindergarten. We start in TK. We start in kindergarten, and it's just built in with extra support. Students with disabilities get extra services at that time, so that they're not missing something that's really important or that's really fun. And we continue to work on honing this system so that it's even more effective than it already is. So we're very fortunate because we've had additional learning recovery teachers added into each school to provide lower ratios in working with students, as well as instructional assistants. I got all the letters. Okay, so I get also PBIS, which stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. And I think probably the letter there that I like the best is the word positive. And this has to do with every school putting into place a system in which to support kids with their behavior and being successful with their behavior. And that starts at the foundation of really clarifying what we expect from students, teaching them what we expect, practicing what we expect, and acknowledging what we expect from students, so that we're looking for kids doing the right thing, not kids doing the wrong thing. When kids make a behavioral mistake, then we see that as an opportunity to reteach them. Just like you would in reading, if a student pronounces a word incorrectly, we don't punish them for that, we reteach them. Okay, with regards to their behavior, in addition to that, we want kids to have the opportunity to make right the mistake that they made. Those are through natural consequences. That's through apologizing and recognizing the impact of their decision and their behavior on others and their school environment. It's a real shift away from a punitive approach. It's been a very long time since I've taken recess away from students because that doesn't teach them the behavior we want to see. It punishes them, and then they don't have their energy out, and then they have difficulty when they're in class. Do they have consequences? Yes. Those consequences have to do with making amends and having natural consequences for whatever the situation may be that they had difficulty with. We also have different levels of support for students with behavior. So if kids are having difficulty with friendships, there might be a friendship group at the school that students can participate in with parental consent, all the way to one-on-one school-based therapy that we provide for students who need a higher level of support in order to be successful. So we're really excited about that. And we're probably in our 5th, 6th, 7th year of implementing these systems in our schools. Okay, so parent participation, it is critical. And it's been really hard in the last 2 years because we're trying to minimize the contacts and that between students and additional adults. So sadly, we've had limited parent contact and participation during this COVID situation that we're in. In a normal year, or as we approach a normal year, we really love having parents volunteer on campus in a whole slew of different ways. It can be in class, it can be on field trips, it can be in the office or in the library. I find that it's really, really powerful when kids see parents helping at school when they're really busy. We all know how busy parents are. It shows kids that school is really important and that it matters. It also is a huge help to the teachers, and it also provides more one-on-one assistance to kids. So hopefully we are going to be back in a situation where we can have parents come on campus. In addition, we actually have leadership roles for parents as well. But when we do, there's TB and fingerprint clearance that's required. Currently, any adult on campus is wearing a mask, but we're trying to get there slowly but surely because it's really critical. In the meantime, working with your child at home and just reading every day. If I could have one wish, okay, for a parent support, it would be read to your child every day, 10, 15 minutes. Read, go dog go until you have it memorized and are ready to throw up, okay? Or green eggs and ham. It's okay to read the same thing over and over. That provides routine, safety, repetition, and helps your child. So read, get a library card and read some more.
Kathy, you just made me laugh, but also made me shudder because I remember reading Go Dog Go so many times.
Do you like my hat?
Thousands of times, but you're right. It's critical.
Yep.
It's part of paying your parent dues. Okay, thank you, Kathy. So Camille, I'm actually going to call on you for this slide. I might have done this last year too, but this is just about some other things you can do to prepare your child for TK. Because I know, especially if you're a new parent, again, I was there once. What do I do? How do I make sure my child's ready to come?
Yeah, I appreciate so much the advice that both Kim and Kathy have been talking about and what's going on at school and all the things and what parents can do at home. There are ways to prepare your child not only for TK but for life, and part of that is really talking to them every day, having conversations, really exposing them to vocabulary, and really having that happen. In the store, how many apples are we buying today? There are ways that you integrate that into everyday conversations, the things that Kim talked about they'll be doing in school. So counting, you know, let's see how many oranges we have left, you know, before we go to the store again. There are games you play in the car while you're going. Ooh, who can find an A? Who can find a Z? You know, you can do those things. And then as well, turn those things into stories, you know, telling your child a story, reading to them every night. I totally agree, Kathy, is great. But you can also tell them a story or read them a song. Again, bathe those children in language so that they really build their own vocabulary, and pretty soon they'll be coming to you with sentences, questions, etc., and you'll be totally amazed by that. Again, I think, you know, we all like routine as much as we may think that we don't. We do. We like knowing what comes next, and young children are really, that really is helpful for them. Once they get that down, they know what to expect. It just makes life a bit easier for them. So having those routines and as Kim said, responsibility. You'll be surprised at what little kids can do for themselves if you just give them the chance, you know. And no doubt sometimes, and I fall into that too. It's just easier if I do it myself and quicker, and here we go. But the learning takes place when little kids do those things for themselves, and it does build independence. And there's nothing better for a young child to say, I can do it. I can do it myself. You know, it really builds their confidence. And so, again, socialization skills. A lot of kids that maybe would have had a preschool experience didn't get one because of the pandemic. So really, as hopefully we're maybe not right now, but we move out of this, kids will again have more opportunities to be in groups or do some things with other children. And then, as we said, fine motor skills, you know, work those little hands, you know, whether it's Play-Doh or, as we said, it's shaving cream or it's soap bubbles, do everything. Just work those little hands to make them strong so that when it comes time to grab that pencil or use scissors, they have the strength and the fine motor skills that they need to do that. You know, I think kids are just amazing, and they have amazing stories to tell. So if I were you, just like Kathy said, read to them, let them tell you a story. And if I were you, write it down, because you're going to go back when those children are the age of Bill's children now and look back at those stories that they dictated to you, and you should write it down. Don't correct it, don't do anything, just write it down and start that journal of their life that they will look back on. Trust me, you will love it when they get older. So I think there are all kinds of ways. And the other thing I would say is as kids develop, and as we said in the beginning, everybody does that at a different rate. Give them that luxury of time to do it. That's what TK really does. It gives them that time to really develop and to know and understand that play is really how children learn. I will just end by saying, you know, if you ever watch a group of young children who are getting ready to do something, and there's a 20-minute literally conversation about, this time you're going to be the dad, you're going to be the mom, you're going to be the dog, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and then we're going to do this, and there is a lot of negotiating, there's a lot of talking, there's a lot of figuring out and they play it for maybe a minute, and then it starts all over again. Okay, now this time you're going to be this, you're going to be that, and it goes again. But that's how kids learn. It's how they learn to be in the world. And so really critical and important. And really, as I said, you know, it's going to make you laugh. It's going to be fun. And once in a while, you're going to tear up because it's really good. So that's
Thank you, Camille. And my slide is all about getting into Stanford, So you know but really, this slide's actually a joke, and it's not just Stanford. It can be your college of choice, because we do want your kids to go to college. But it's a joke because really I'm talking about the same things, and I'm not going to reiterate the same things that have been said. Reading, important. Interacting with the text, ask questions, have them make predictions, make connections to their life. That's what they're going to learn in school. Do math in the real world. Don't give them 3 + 2 and make them solve problems. Have them count objects, group objects, measure objects. That's the foundation for math. When you lay that foundation, your kids will be very successful. Create opportunities for your kid to socialize. Get out of the way. Don't, like what Camille just described, is that negotiation of play. There's so much learning in there. When you step in as the parent and actually you're the dog and you're the mom and you're the dad, because that's the way I want it as an adult, you take away so much learning. If I could go back now, I would get out of my kids, let my kids do more on their own, and give them chores. They need more chores. That's my advice. Especially as I get older, they need to be doing more in the house. But I think there's learning in there too. And of course, save lots and lots of money if you haven't started yet. College is adding up these days. Got to do that thing too. But lots of good stuff. Okay, that's in bold stuff. Special circumstances. Kathy, I think this is you. This is your slide, right? This is your favorite.
Yes.
Go.
Yes. So as a principal, we have kids that come to us with all different kinds of situations, health needs, learning needs, behavioral needs. And I want to make sure that we are prepared to support your child to be successful. And so I want you to contact me or the principal at your child's school where they will be attending at least a week before school starts, so that, we all come back usually August 1st. So that's a good time to email the principal, contact the school so we can meet and we can have some individualized attention either on the phone or in person. And you can tell me everything that you need to about your child so I can make sure things are in place for them. That is huge. Not the day before, a week before, or more would be ideal. Okay. Okay. So such things, if your child has an IEP or a 504, allergies, food allergies, anything with regards to that helps me help your child. We bring the teacher involved and we figure out what we're going to do so that your child grows and is successful, and we work together as a team. Critical, absolutely critical. Some parents worry, they're so busy. No. Yes, we are busy, but not that busy, because this is really important. So please, it helps me do a good job if I know, what your child needs.
And I'm going to keep it even more real here, Kathy. Because there's a belief, and I think we've all done this as parents, I'm guilty, but you say, well, if I don't tell my child's school or principal or teacher about this behavior or this thing, they probably won't notice. And maybe I'll just hope for the best that my kid will be an angel, even though I know they have this behavior. Never works. And you've set your child up, unfortunately, for a failure, because now we're not ready to deal with the allergy or the behavior or the need. So really, what Principal Goddard said, communicating up front is critical, right? We are not judging you or your children, or we want to support you and your children. And the more information we have about you and your child and your family, the better we can support your child and help them learn. Because we'll get them to a good place. We have lots of resources to help. So please communicate with us. Okay, registration. Registration opened this morning. The website's linked here. If you like Google, you can say Rocklin registration, and it will bring up the registration page. All the information you need for registration is on that website. You will need to upload proof of residency, immunization records, and other pieces. All the details are there. You can upload those directly with your registration and do it all virtually, or you can actually bring those documents into your school site if you prefer that, and they can help you with that as well. If you need help at any point in the process, if you're confused or you have questions, I recommend reaching out to your school site. They can help you navigate that process, especially if you're not used to doing virtual pieces. And we're at the district office, we're also happy to help you troubleshoot some of those issues. I saw one person put in the Q&A that registration page was kicking them out. I will look into that tomorrow and see what's going on, but it shouldn't do that. I know we have many registrations already, so we will take a look at that. I've also linked in the health services website. This will give you more information about the requirements in terms of immunizations and vaccinations that you need to do before your child starts school. So that's more detailed than what I'm going to provide in this presentation. I will say, just because I know that question's out there, the governor had said last year, in order for any kids to go to school in 22-23, they're going to have to be vaccinated for COVID-19. So that was put out there by the governor. We are still waiting for more information. Currently, that is in place. However, there are a number of exemptions that exist for vaccination, including religious, medical, and personal exemptions. Those are still in play for next year. So it gives you a lot of options as a parent in terms of vaccinating or exempting your child. As we learn more, we will update you, but at this point, we don't have any more information about that order from the state of California. Again, 100% online, we can help you. Let me see, important dates. Registration's open now. You can complete everything today if you have the documentation. It's a rolling registration by date. We will have room for all TK eligible students, so you don't need to worry about that. If you're interested in the Quarry Trail dual language program, on that website, there is a lottery entry form and information about the Quarry Trail lottery. So you would need to complete registration completely, yes. And then fill out the Quarry Trail lottery entry form. Those would be two-step directions. And again, more information on the website. In April, you'll be notified of which TK program or school your child will be attending. Friday, August 5th, teacher assignments would be available through the Aries parent portal. We'll get you familiar with that, so you'll see your teacher assignment. Tuesday, August 9th, we usually do meet the teacher events at elementary schools where you get to see the classroom and say hello. And then the big day, Wednesday, August 10th, first day of school. It's getting earlier every year. One other piece of advice, if when you find out what school you're attending, spend some time there over the summer. Go play on the playground, walk around, check things out, get your child comfortable. There's always tears on the first day of TK and kindergarten, and you can alleviate tears by bringing your kid on campus and playing there and making it part of their routine. Okay, I think we're close to the end here. Yes, we are questions. We only went 29 minutes over, so you have exactly 30 seconds for questions. Okay, none, thank you very much. We will see you next year. No, I am committed to staying to answer your questions. I actually see questions in the Q&A, which is a cool feature I hadn't seen before. So I'm going to read through some of these, and then I'll just kind of let panelists answer some of these questions. Panelists, I know I recruited you for an hour. If you're committed to other things now at 7 o'clock, I understand, and I will stand alone and answer questions. That wasn't a guilt trip. If you can stay till 7:30, that would be awesome. But truly, if you need to go, that's okay too. I appreciate your time.
I don't think my next expert gig is for at least a half an hour. So.
Good. Yes, you're scheduled all night, right, Kathy? Okay, yeah. Let's take a look at some of our questions. There's several questions about Sunset Ranch for TK. So there is not currently a Sunset Ranch TK scheduled for next year. As I said earlier, that could change based on enrollment. The reason for it, we don't have TK at every school site, and we never have. We will in 23-24. What we are looking at is Quarry Trail will have 2 TKs. Quarry Trail is about a mile from Sunset Ranch, so we don't want to oversaturate that neighborhood. So we have 2 programs right around the corner. But again, if we have lots of interest in Sunset Ranch and high enrollment in TK, that would be a consideration for the next TK likely would be there. Let me see here. Asking about screening, upload forms. Yes, you would want to print and fill all the forms, and you can scan or take pictures and upload them right into your registration. Your registration is considered complete once you have completed the entire online registration process and uploaded all the required documents. At that point, you would get a timestamp and you would have a complete registration and be in line for that school or that class. Vegetarian meals, Kathy, do we have vegetarian meals available during lunch? And is it okay for children to bring their own lunchbox?
Yes, kids can bring their own lunch. In the cafeteria, currently kids have choices. They have a cold pack, breakfast cold pack, or they have whatever the entree is being offered that day. The cold pack does not have any meat in it. It's usually yogurt and a muffin and some string cheese. There's dairy in it, but there is no meat.
Okay.
And
yes,
also it's meatless Mondays also.
Okay.
No meat on Mondays.
And students can always bring their own lunch, correct? Yes, absolutely. Okay. What is the bell schedule for TK? So we have two types of schools. We have 6 early start and 6 late start schools next year. Early start schools start at 7:50 a.m., including TK. TK would get out at, on Tuesdays through Friday, the TK would be out at 1:10. And then on Mondays, they would be out at 1:10. Actually, sorry, it's always 1:10. So they'll be 7:50 to 1:10 at early start. Late start schools would be 8:25, and they would get out at 2:45. Those are the two, or 1:45, excuse me. Those are the two different bell schedules. Did I mess that up, Kathy or Kim? Is that correct? Okay. And I can't rattle off all the, maybe I can rattle off all the schools. Late start is Antelope Creek, Parker Whitney, Rocklin Elementary School, Quarry Trail, Sunset Ranch, and Sierra Elementary School are late start. The rest are early start.
Bill?
Yes.
There's a bunch of questions about some Quarry Trail and the 2 TKs, and will they be both dual immersion, or what will be the structure of that? There's quite a few questions about that.
They are both part of the dual language program. So it's on the registration form, it will say that dual language program, the dual language are 2 classes, that one's taught in Spanish for half the day, the other's English, and then they would switch, and the other would be Spanish and the other would be English. So it's a 2-class model. And at Quarry Trail, both TKs and 2 of the kindergartens are that track. If you don't want to participate in the dual language program at Quarry Trail, then we would have you attend TK at a different school.
There are also a number of questions with regards to how do you get placed at a school, or how do you indicate your preferences for a TK program on another campus if your home school does not offer TK, or if there's maybe not enough space at that school.
So when you fill out the TK preference form, it's part of the registration packet. It will have you rank preference your TK it'll have you mark your home school, but then it will also have you rank your top 3 TK schools. And so you will choose 1, 2, and 3 on that list, and one of those may be your home school. If not your home school, the school you prefer. And then, like I said, our goal is always to get you that top choice, if possible, if not your home school.
There are questions about after-school care, and every campus, I believe this will be true of Quarry Trail also, has an after-school daycare program available to parents. Will that be true of Quarry Trail also, Bill?
Yeah, all of our schools, we partner with an organization called Catalyst Kids. They are on-site childcare and preschool. They provide before and after school. As part of the new universal TK language, we are going to be offering to families an extended day that includes before school and after school care up to 9 hours. So that will be available at sites, and we'll provide more information about that as we move forward. At existing sites, Catalyst Kids already has a website, and information can be found at the sites. For Quarry Trail, that will be up and running in the next couple months. But yes, absolutely, before and after school is available at all sites.
What's the
Yeah.
process for being waitlisted if your child's birthday is outside that TK window?
So we create two wait lists. One's the before the window wait list, and the other is the after the window wait list. So the first list that we work through is actually the before the window. So we would take students eligible for kindergarten born before September 2nd, and we would work backwards. If there was space available and people wanted entry into TK, we would work backwards by age and birth date to offer those spots. So the example I gave earlier is the first date we would look at is September 1st, and then we'd move back to August 31st, then August 30th. And so that's how the wait list would operate. It would be by birth date.
Bill, can I just ask, so if I wanted to put my child on the wait list, do I go to the TK registration? Is there a place there that says wait list? I mean, like, how do I do that? And if I put them on a wait list, is it for any school that might have an opening? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what you can do is, if your child is kindergarten eligible, I highly recommend that you register for kindergarten at your home school, because that's the first step, because you want to get your foot in the door and make sure that you have a spot there. Then you can email Donna Holmes, and I will put her email in the chat for people who are interested, dholmes@rocklinusd.org, and let her know that you would like to be on the wait list, added to the wait list for TK for next year, and provide your child's name and birth date, and she's the one who keeps those wait lists. You can also send that information to me. If my email is easier for you, I'll put that in here too. But we can add you to the wait list. But in order to be on the wait list, you do have to register for kindergarten. And what we would do is, if we had a spot available, we would notify you in April, and we'd say, okay, we can move you into this TK program. And then we would make that transfer.
Thank
So
you.
there's a question about what the last day is to register your child for TK, and there is no last day. It's just the sooner you register, the more likely you'll get the site that you would want to attend. So I would just recommend that you register as soon as you can, but not to panic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are early in the registration, first day today. But I agree with Ms. Goddard that these classes do fill up, and I would get your registration in as soon as possible and your preferences, because once we go to put kids in classes, we will go by registration date. And if all things being the same, like everybody in the TK eligibility window, we'll look at registration date in terms of preference for classes.
So another question that was here is, if someone doesn't quite have all the medical forms or the birth certificate or something, should they still register, like they're in the process of getting them? Should they still register and hold the spot and then send in their forms later? Does that work? Or?
Yes, you can start the registration process, and I recommend you do as much as possible, because we'll see that you're there, but it's not complete until you upload or bring in all the forms.
Okay, thanks.
We talked about start times. The school preference ranking is on there's a ranking sheet that's part of the registration packet. We have someone who's moving in May 2020. Can I register my son now? As soon as you take papers on your home, and you can provide that as part of your registration packet, you can register your child. But until you've secured your home, you'll have to wait, because the only other way to do that would be like an inter-district permit. But I think you'd be okay in May to register at that time. What else here?
There's a question about, is there a cost to before and after school programs?
There is. Catalyst does have, it is a paid program. At certain schools, depending on like eligibility, we will be offering, we will be subsidizing some of the before and after school programming. It just depends on the site you're at and the family need. I didn't answer the second part of the question about the wait list. The after February birthdays, which would be the youngest students, those would be next on our list in terms of they would come after the before list. So if your child's born February 3rd and after, it's less likely you would enter the TK program this year. In prior years, we've opened a mid-year program, and that's been January and February, December and February, January birthdays. But since this year we're expanding the window, we may not be able to do that. If we had a lot of demand if we had a full class of February and March birthdays, we might consider opening that class earlier. So it's still worth getting on that list if you're interested.
Bill, if I signed up at Quarry Trails for the dual immersion program and, 3 years from now, have a sibling coming in and that's not my school area, will my sibling automatically get into the school? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it's not your home school?
Right, not your
home school. For the dual language program, we will be prioritizing. One of the criteria we'll use to select, the next year's class and the year after that is siblings, right?
Okay.
So if we have parents who are committed to dual language and are part of that program, and they have a sibling coming in, we're going to make that a priority in terms of enrollment. Okay. Yes, and in general, that question comes up a lot. Do we try to keep siblings together? And the answer is absolutely. So we do the best we can to keep families together. Can we always do that, especially if people register really late, in August and classes are full? Sometimes we end up redirecting and splitting families, but we really try not to. And if you register early, that's very unlikely.
Bill, there's a question about when a child goes to a TK program that's not their home school, can they remain at that school? So for instance, we have a TK program at Cobblestone. When the kids go to kindergarten next year, they're going to be transferred to their home school. Any student that would want to stay at Cobblestone would fill out an intra-district transfer. And based on space availability would be considered to remain at Cobblestone. But that's again, based on space availability.
But we do allow, Principal Goddard mentions our intra-district transfer form. We do allow families to apply to attend any school in Rocklin, regardless of your home school. And again, based on space available, we would grant those permits.
See what else is there.
Last day.
Will people, when the registration is completed and they've hit the send button, will they get something back from us, from the district, that says, yes, it went through and yay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they will. Correct. So for English only TK, again, just to reiterate, we don't have an English only TK class being offered currently at Quarry Trail. They're both dual language programs. So you would need to select the other site for English only. Specific questions about Sierra. Sierra is moving to a late start school. So there'll be an 8:25 start, which would be the same as Rocklin Elementary School. They would also be 8:25. Both would be late start schools. Another question about TK at Sunset Ranch. Never say never again. So enrollment willing, we will open another TK at Sunset Ranch. That would probably be the next site. So we will see where that journey takes us. But as I've said a couple times now, we have not ever offered TK at every single school site. It's expanding this year to most of our school sites, and then next year will be at all of our school sites, projected for 23-24.
TK is a shorter day than kindergarten. It's shorter by 1 hour. There have been a couple questions about that.
Yes.
So
TK classes are 5.5 hours as opposed to 6.5 hours. They release an hour before the other classes. And we actually have them, they release an hour before the other classes every day. So we do offer a benefit, which is a full day TK program, which isn't always the case, but we feel like in the terms of the program we described to you, which is that we want to do academics, but we also want play-based learning and socialization. We feel like the full day gives us ample time to implement all those components of the program.
Bill, if a parent has questions specifically around special needs and TK, who would they contact at the district, the special need,
So if you have questions specifically about special education, you would reach out to the special education department. Diana Romeri would be the person you want to contact. And I can put that email in my, let me make sure I get it right here, but I will put her email in the chat. And then she can direct you to the appropriate person in terms of, yep, I was right. Let me just put that in here.
there's a question about whether you can skip the fall semester and have a child only attend in the spring for TK. And that's a possibility. That would mean that you just register when you're ready to have your child enroll. But there may not be space available at your local school. So you may have limitations in terms of where your child, what campus your child would attend.
Mm-hmm. TK is not a required grade level in terms of the state of California. So you can delay and or attend private school or homeschool, based on what your preference is. Like we've said in this presentation, getting your child in school early and starting this process is shown to have academic and social benefits. If you wait to put your kid in school, you may not have the same options of school sites and programs, because like I said, they do fill up, and that would be the risk you'd be running as you're ready to enroll your kid in the spring and there's no space available. So we don't hold spots for any students, even residents, in terms of we fill them as they're available. I'm seeing lots of questions about the website, so I will make sure to check on that tomorrow and make sure all systems are go. We shouldn't be having issues. Sometimes we do, but we will. I will take a look at that tomorrow and make sure that it sounds like some people aren't getting responses as well in terms of registration. So I will take a look at that and rectify that tomorrow.
There was a question about whether you register your child as TK or kindergarten. If your child is kindergarten age eligible, you should register them as a kindergartner. And then you can indicate your preference for TK if their birthday, would be in the appropriate window to be considered. But definitely you want to register for kindergarten. If they're kindergarten eligible and you register them as a TK student, they won't be considered. And then they won't have a spot in kindergarten. So you want to register them in the grade level that their birth date aligns to.
Correct. And I know there's lots of questions out there, and I'll continue to answer for a while, but if you're having any trouble with the registration process, please reach out to your home school or reach out to the district office. You can reach out to me or Donna by email, and we will make sure you get the information you need. I know that there's a lot of pieces and it can be confusing if you're coming in the door, but you're going to get there. We're going to get you there. So, and we're happy to help.
I think your point about this is day one of registration. So great, you all are there and getting that done, but there's time to help people get through it. So.
Okay, I'm seeing some thank yous, so that's good. That means we're satisfying some of you out there, which makes me happy because that's why we're here. We're here to help you guys and help your kids. I will say thank you, everybody. Again, we recorded this, so we'll have the recording posted. Thanks for. It's a little weird, this panel. This is the first time I've done a webinar, and it's. I wish I could see your faces because it's a little odd, but because I don't know how you're responding if you're doing this kind of stuff or whatever. So I hope you got what you needed tonight. We're here to help, and I love it. See some smiles. That's good. That's helpful.
Yeah.
But we are really excited to have your kids come to Rocklin. It's a great place. It really is. I've worked in many school districts over the years, and Rocklin's a very special place that cares about kids, and it's a great education all the way through, really. So looking forward to meeting you all. Happy to answer your questions. I want to thank Ms. Goddard. Ms. White she had another expert panel. I know she has a whole slew of them. And then Ms. Maben, as always, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here tonight. But again, look forward to meeting you all. Thanks a lot. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye.